No, but that wouldn't. I've never been that lost. When I'm walking across a field, at the edge of the field, I'd go, hang on a minute, this isn't right. I wouldn't get in the middle. I wouldn't go that far. I'd go, right, I definitely shouldn't be here.
You did once. You were in the middle of a field and your dad had to rescue you and carry you through
that's when I was a kid, because I was reading as I was walking.
And he never read again.
But there's another sense. I was in the middle of nettles there.
Yeah.
I'd walked. It was at my brother's wedding in Cornwall, and I was walking near a cliff edge,
reading a book.
And okay, so okay. Carl, I know you're enjoying this book. Can I have a word with you? Just look past the book a minute. It's a big drop.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened, and then that's when my other senses went, hang on a minute, I'm being stung. Load of nettles and stuff. And I just had to wait there for ages until my dad sort of thought, where's Carl? I was there for about an hour and a half.
You showed a book.
Fuck me like a cartoon.
But why are you wandering off reading a book when it's your brother's wedding?
No, this was like, we were in, I think it was St Ives in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in St Ives. And, just, it was a nice day and that. There was no telly in the place. It was a horrible house. It was haunted, actually. No, honestly.
No, not honestly. It wasn't haunted. There's no such thing as ghosts. So you saying honestly it was haunted means fuck all.
It's the weirdest place and weirdest sensation I've ever had. I spoke to a woman called Mrs. Battersby.
Right.
Who sat on my bed keeping me up all night. My mum came up, she said, you look shattered. I said, yeah, I haven't had a kip all night. She said, why? I said, I've been talking to Mrs. Battersby. She said, who's that? I said, no, some old woman. Now, I can't remember it now, but that's what I did then. And then,
Sorry, so Mrs. Battersby didn't exist, is that what you're saying? She was the ghost?
Yeah.
Wasn't the landlady?
No, there's no landlady. It's a big house, about 12 bedrooms in it.
Right.
Dead cheap to stay there, because it was a wreck. My
Were
mum
you
and dad
ill?
went out
Were you
one
ill?
night.
Did you have flu at the
No,
time?
I had nothing like that. I just...
So you were sitting up, but you were awake, and you were having a conversation with Mrs. Battersby.
What did she look like?
I can't remember. I can't even remember having the chat now.
Right,
but at the time I was like, oh, she just doesn't shut up. Chatting all night.
So you don't remember this happening? Or you do remember it happening?
No, I remember that, like, if I see my mum now and I mention St Ives, she'll go, oh yeah, Mrs. Battersby. She remembers coming in, because she was older than me, wasn't she? So, to her, my mum.
Was she?
Yeah.
How old was Mrs. Battersby? She was older than both of you.
She was old, because I'm calling her Mrs. Battersby. If she was my age, I'd probably say, oh, it's Susan or whatever.
Right, sure.
You call older
Miss
people
Battersby.
by the surname, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so she kept me
How
up
old
all
were you?
night. Don't know, I'm thinking of pictures at the wedding.
Why do you have to go through other things to just have a memory?
How old do you reckon you were?
I don't understand why you haven't got direct access to your memories.
How old do you reckon you were?
Your mum was older though, yeah?
You must have a vague idea of when this event was.
I'm thinking about it now, I'm thinking. I'm
Okay.
picturing the picture of myself at this wedding.
Okay.
And how old are you? What are you doing?
How tall were you?
I'd say I look about...
How were you?
I'd say I look about 7 or 8, looking at the picture.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So Mrs. Battersby is chatting away to you. You don't remember what she said, but you do remember having the conversation.
No, he doesn't remember it at
I
all.
don't remember the chat now.
Well then
So-
why are you telling us?
It's
You
not
must
your
remember it
memory.
because you're telling us about
It's not
it.
your
Because it's a
memory.
memory. My mum's reminded me of it.
Yeah, but all it says is, this is so far removed. This is hearsay that your mum said you spoke to a ghost once, and you don't even remember the ghost.
Mrs. Battersby.
No,
Yeah,
you
no, but
remember
you
the
don't
name
remember
only because
her.
your mum reminded you of
In a
it.
court of law, if there was a ghost court, they go hearsay, thrown out of court.
Right.
You don't have a memory of Mrs.
No,
Battersby.
look, I know that when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I ate a beetle. I ate a beetle because I thought it was licorice. Now, I can't remember that now.
You can't remember that, but you know it happened because your mother told you it happened.
Exactly.
Right. But the fundamental thing is that we can believe we can believe you ate a beetle, right? Because that is something that could happen in real life.
But-
what we're questioning is that you spoke to a ghost.
What sort of beetle was it?
Just one of them standard beetles, just a little black shiny one.
Thing is, right, a couple of years ago, we were in the Ivy, and the food came, and there's a big blob of wasabi, right? It was like called an Oriental hors d'oeuvre, right? And I looked over at Carl, and he started going, drinking water. I said, what have you done? He said, I had that. I said, that was a blob of wasabi. He said, I thought it was one mushy pea.
That's a classy restaurant, they're serving one mushy pea.
Well, they do that, don't they?
Wow.
Small portions. It's all trendy, isn't it?
I love the fact that it's exactly the same thing, but they've swapped beetle for wasabi and licorice for pea. You see things, you see something, you
It's a
think...
good job you remembered that anecdote, though, because he doesn't.
Exactly, yeah. In years to come, we'll be going... Ate some wasabi once, did you?
Yeah.
Well, according to Ricky, I did. Yeah, I was in the ivy. I thought it were mushy pea.
So hang on, I just want to go back to Mrs. Battersby because you confidently said it was haunted. It was the most haunted place.
Yeah.
But you've got no real evidence for it because even you claim you had this encounter, you don't even remember it.
Yeah, but you don't remember everything in life,
But you
do you?
supposedly had a conversation with a ghost.
I know, but I didn't know. When I was younger, I
But you
didn't think
remember
that
the
was a
specifics
ghost.
of an ant walking around.
Yeah, so you thought, so I see. If you'd have had the memory, it would just be a nice old lady on the end of your bed all night.
Right.
And then...
Then when I mentioned it, my mum was saying, "What do you mean, Mrs. Battersby? Who's Mrs. Battersby?"
Right.
When you're a kid, you're not terrified, are you?
No.
Nothing scares
I mean,
you.
I'm beginning to think, who the fuck is Mrs. Battersby, I must admit. But
So, yeah, that was, but it was a weird place. I mean, there was no telly. All they had for sort of company was a calculator.
Carl, you are the strangest little man that's ever lived. Company had to company.
No.
There goes Carl with his friend. What's his friend? Oh, it's a little...
It's a Sanyo 4197G.
I love that. That's amazing.
Oh, calculator, do that boobs thing again.
My mum and dad used to go out. I stayed in there.
Just shots of him with his calculator on the beach. Like that. It's sunlit. Maybe beautiful and the
4
air.
plus 16, what will it be?
My only friend was the calculator.
No, but there's loads of things that have happened where people go, "Oh, that's weird. That goes to show that we've been around before." Or
No, it doesn't. There's none. I have no evidence for that. Of
well, I
reincarnation.
told you that time when it happened to me when I was younger.
Go on.
Your life flashed before your eyes.
Well, it wasn't like a flashback, but it was close. It's the next thing next to flashbacks. It was I was having a bath, right, and my mum had like run the bath and that, and she said, "Is that too warm?" And I said something like, "No, it's all right. It's a lot better than when I used to have a bath in that wooden bath in front of the fire."
Okay.
And she was like, "What?" And I said, "Well, it happened years ago." And she was a bit like, "Oh." And I can't remember that now, but she talks about it, and that just goes to show that, because I was at an age when I wouldn't have known about wooden baths years ago in front of fires.
No, but you talk rubbish now. So all you were doing, you were talking rubbish from an early age. Where's the problem?
No, but you can only talk rubbish if you're aware of knowledge.
Well,
I didn't know about wooden baths, so why would I have invented
But Carl,
that?
we've only got your mother's word on this, and she thought you might one day be a doctor.
Yeah.
So,
She put a rock with a feather on it to keep a parrot company.
lest we forget.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Well, it's all bollocks.
So have you researched this? You've tried to find out when little Karl Mark I and his wooden bath, when he was
No,
around?
I don't want to go there, because that's when you start digging out all sorts
It's
of trouble,
rubbish.
innit?
It's rubbish.
No, it's not rubbish.
Well, it is
what
rubbish.
sort of stuff might
There's
you
no
discover?
scientific evidence.
No,
but
just like I've said about family trees and that, don't be looking at them, because you're only going to find stuff you don't really want to know about. It's the same as that, innit? Leave it, let it be. Do you know what I mean? If your granddad was Einstein, you'd know about it because your family would be shouting about it. If he was a bad un, you go, "Oh, keep that quiet." So don't look at family trees, and it's the same. Don't be looking back in your past lives, because
no
God knows
past
what you've been up
lives.
to. Well,
Karl and the wooden bath. Proof. If
Karl
proof we needed.
Pilkington, live on air, talking shit again.
one of my uncles, right, Tattoo Stan, he's just caked in them.
Right.
I don't think he's my proper uncle, but it's just like my dad's got.
Stan!
No, my dad's got.
That's a province in Russia, isn't it?
My dad's got loads of mates who.
When you
like,
say he's
have
not your
names.
proper uncle.
Do you know, like, when
Just a bloke
someone
you used to
comes
hang around
round,
with at
you're
school?
alright, Uncle Stan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And my dad had loads of mates like that. There was John the Screw.
Right. So he either works in a prison or he likes to have sex.
Cabby. Cab driver.
Okay.
There was Jimmy the Hat. I don't know what he
Jimmy
did.
the Hat.
Yeah. And,
Did he wear a hat?
No.
No.
There was Fred the
You
Veg.
sure he wasn't a relative?
Sorry.
Fred the Veg used to get us, like, big bags of potatoes and that.
Fred Veg, okay.
And there was Tattoo Stan.
Right.
And he was just caked in them. And I used to always look at him thinking, why have you done that? I must have only been, like, 6
I
or
suppose
7.
if you're born with a name like
Tattoo Stan.
Exactly.
You're destined, aren't you,
were
really?
they like a 1950s gang?
I'm worried about... I'm worried about...
doing a bank job.
What was his name? The Hat? What was his name?
Jimmy the Hat.
I'm worried about Jimmy the Hat.
Yeah.
Not having a hat.
I don't understand it.
Are you sure he didn't have a hat?
Not when I met him.
Did he ever wear a hat?
I didn't see him that much.
Do you think it was a joke, like, you know, when, your mate's sort of like, you know, 8 foot and huge, you call him Little John or Tiny? Do you think...
Well, the fact that he never wore a hat.
they went, hold on, I've noticed something about Jim. Go on. No hat. And I go, oh, true, let's call him Jim the Hat.
Jimmy the Hat, yeah. But me Uncle Stan, he had, like, loads of them. He did them himself.
Oh, dear.
And it was always that thing...
God. What was it things like?
It was, he had, like, the
cross.
Cut here one.
Cut here, made in
neck.
Britain.
And if you're going to do them yourself, I'd say at least make sure you're sort of a good drawer.
Yeah.
And don't do it in the mirror, so it comes out backwards.
Well, that was the other thing. But, like, I remember he did, I mean, names are alright. He had, like, all his kids' names down his arm. And,
right. What are they called?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's...
Tattoo Stan Jr.
Yeah.
And,
Paul shits the bed.
I'm trying to...
Oh, Wobby Kate.
Yeah.
But he had...
Frankie never amounts to anything.
Oh, God.
So he had, like,
Johnny, I don't think he's mine.
So he did all this... Oh, I don't even know why I'm telling you about tattoos.
No, nor do I, Carl!
Have I told you about, me Uncle Alf, who was a cobbler?
No.
I'm sure I told you about him. He's the one who, he lived in, like, a bedsit, and he had 2 tellies. He had, like, one that the sound didn't work on, and one that the picture didn't. But both together, it worked.
Oh, right, okay.
So as long as he was watching the same channel on both, sound came out of one telly, and he'd watch the picture on the other.
Brilliant.
And he slept in, like, a rubber dinghy. Right? But he was...
Whoa! You can't just let that slide. Why did he sleep in a rubber dinghy?
He just liked boats and stuff, and, he sort of...
Yeah, I like boats, but they're better on the water. Beds are better to sleep on. Boats are better to sail on.
Well, he just had it in there. It's a bed set. It was really tight space.
Boat sit.
He's got this...
He's moved into a dinghy set.
He's got this dinghy, so he's thinking, well, rather than it get in the way, I might as well use it.
Yeah.
Right? But he was a cobbler. And he used to, like, repair, like, my shoes and that, right?
Yeah.
But he'd always sort of overdo them. Right, so...
What do you mean?
Like,
Fancy.
do you know, like, Pimp My Ride on MTV?
Yeah.
Because he does up shoes, he'd go mental on them.
What do you mean? There was the stereo.
Yeah.
Well, no.
There was horns.
It sounds...
Here comes
faster stripes down the side.
Yeah. Here comes Mr. Pilkington. He's got the fastest shoes in the land.
No, it just makes shoes that would last forever. So instead of putting, like, 1 sole on, he'd put about 5 on. So it looked like one of them built-up shoes. That you never see. He'd just put loads of stuff on. They'd last forever. But they didn't.
But they look like
I
orthopaedic shoes.
Yeah. It just like suddenly I was like 6'7" whenever he'd sort of sorted my shoes out. But he's a cobbler, and, you know, it's work that's always there for you, isn't it?
I suppose so.
But you know why I'm not a sort of big fan of sort of Christmas and buying presents and that. Anyway, because I've had bad experiences in the past when, like, you know, buying stuff for people.
Go on.
You know, like when I was a kid and that, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, you put a lot of thought into buying presents, don't you, when you're a kid? Because, you know, you haven't got that much money to...
How old are we talking?
About 8.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
About 8, right?
So you look like you did, but you had hair, I assume.
Yeah, right. So 8 years old and that, I'm putting a bit of planning into it, thinking, oh, you know, what will my mum want, right? Now, my mum's a big fan of, gnomes.
Right, obviously.
Like gnomes. Gnomes.
She must be pleased how you turned out.
And fairies and stuff like that, right? Little elves and all that stuff, right?
Sure.
So I thought, right, I'll look for something that's a bit gnomish. Right? And there was this
You got
shop.
a Noel Edmonds.
There was this shop sort of down the road that sort of sold a lot of tat, right?
Oh, good.
Sort of one of them shops where everything's quite cheap. It's sort of they sell things individually that shouldn't be, like toilet rolls and that sort of thing.
They used to be called everything's a pound. Now they're saying that everything's 99p. Because a pound wasn't cheap enough.
They're undercutting the pound shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
So anyway, so I had a look in there, thinking, right, let's have a look, see if they've got any gnomes and that. And the closest thing they had, right, was this figure that's called Victoria Plum. Right?
Victoria Plum, right?
Yeah, it's like a little
No,
woman.
Victoria Plum. Right, get it right.
It's like a woman gnome, right?
Okay.
So I thought I should love that, right? So save that. I think it was about £2, right?
Yeah.
Invest in one of them, take it home and well chuff with myself and that, wrapping it up, pop it under the tree, think I can't wait to see her face light up when she sees this.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you know, like, when you're a kid, I bought that like 2 weeks before Christmas.
Sure.
Right? And do you know when you're sort of excited and you want to give someone a present earlier?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I sort of took my mum into this shop, right? And we're just walking about, and the Victoria Plum was sort of there on the shelf. And I said to her, I said, look at that up there, do you like that? She said, no, it's bloody horrible, right? So it's too late, it's too late to go back.
You spent all your money?
Money's spent, it's wrapped, it's under the tree, right? I'm thinking, I can't believe it. So I said, no, that, you know, made sure she's looking at the right thing. I said, no, that little gnome woman, yeah, it's horrible.
Oh no.
Yeah, right?
Oh god!
Christmas Day comes, right? I open my stuff, right? She's about to open
really
hers.
Sad.
This is like Dickens.
She opened. She opened hers and that, and she went, "Oh, that's lovely." That I said, "No, don't give me that." Do you know what I mean? You said it was horrible.
She was a liar.
Yeah,
for pretending, for not wanting to hurt your feelings. She was a liar.
And that's, you know, that's why, you know.
But things have moved on.
What are you on about? Yeah, but you don't forget, do you?
I still don't know how this justifies you not buying your girlfriend of 11 years an actual gift.
Although that was quite touching.
Yeah.
Play a Christmas song. I'm welling up.